Okay everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. We're back on GT Sport and we're back with part 2 of the Alien Lobby for the FIA Nations Round number 2 at Bathurst, driving the Group 3 car. So this was the final race of the day. Race 2, we qualified really well and binned it on lap 1 and ended up about 15 seconds behind last place. Had to quit, decided to quit it and then go and pick the missus up from work. And then I had one more chance to get a race in, the final race of the day, which was this, which we totally messed up qualifying. You can see we started on a 2.0, I think our qualifying lap was a 2.01.1, which was terrible. It's 4 tenths worse than what we did in part 1 video. And we were actually on a really good lap when we binned it in qualifying. We were on for about a 2.0, maybe a 0.4 or 5. We were really flying, and I binned it on the downhill section at the midway through the lap, so I was a little bit disappointed. But this race now, starting from P11, is going to be all about damage limitation, trying to get some sort of base points. You can see again, IRT Nisman was basically my partner in qualifying in these races. Every race we raced, I ended up right in front of him on a pretty much identical lap time. It was just every single race we entered, we were pretty much next to each other on the grid. But this race, you can see, very close on the opening lap. You can see I've got a lot of work to do to try and make any sort of grounds up in this race. There's a lot of fast drivers again in this lobby. You've got Jamie up in front there in the Mercedes. There was quite a few fast drivers all the way through the grid. I think it wasn't as competitive. It wasn't quite as known drivers as the first race, part 1, with Lightning and stuff in and Org. However, it was still 2.9k for the win, so a very competitive race. As Jamie there makes a mistake on a very tricky corner, can catch anyone out that corner, runs a little bit wide. We managed to take advantage and get ourselves up into P10, so 1 position gained already. However, you can see the cars in front driving very well. We have a massive moment midway through the corner on the downhill section. The rear nearly goes. Luckily managed to save it and didn't lose too much time. However, we're just outside the slipstream now. You can see we're over the distance needed to pick up the slipstream, but luckily we've got Jamie behind, who's actually not in the slipstream of ourselves. So now we've just got to concentrate on trying to catch up to these cars in front. This is the thing for myself, again, not qualifying very well and putting myself in a situation where I'm in the dirty air and not being able to drive in clean air really doesn't do me any good. I don't tend to drive as well when I'm really close to other cars. So at this point now, we've got fast drivers in front of us. You can see there Firestorm right in front of us in the Beetle, very fast driver. So this is going to be hard work to really make any progress in this race. You can see obviously a lot of people picked more cars that were a bit better on handling and tyre wear, and this is where I think I went wrong in this race. I said it in the previous race. I think the Corvette was too harsh on its front tyres and was causing a lot of understeer once the tyre wear was kicking in, whereas the people in the Beetle, the FT1, I think there was a few in the AMG GT3, tended to get pretty decent tyre wear out of their cars. They might have lacked a bit of straight line speed, but if you're in the slipstream, like you see there again, Firestorm's in the slipstream of the car in front, so he's not really losing out down the straights, as he's going to have a little look on the right hand side. This is getting really close and really this is not really great for the overall race, but it's great obviously racing going on as Firestorm runs wide there. He's going to try and hold it around the outside. I'm going to try and go around the left. We're going to try and accelerate up the hill on the outside, but decided to back out that one. It was too risky. There was no point trying to hang it around the outside, because if you try and go through that corner side by side, one car always ends up in the wall. So I backed out of that, let Firestorm go ahead, and now we just got to follow as closely as possible. Now this is quite, obviously this is frustrating at this point, because this is just losing everyone time, but it's very fun, close racing going on. And this was starting to make me think about trying to do something different with the race. Obviously we've started on the medium tyres, but I felt like I had a bit more pace than what I was able to put down when I'm in this dirty air, and obviously a lot of battling going off in front of us. What's going to happen is you're going to end up losing more time than you possibly could if you were in clean air. However, I couldn't really pit on the end of lap 2. You can see if I pit now, I would just not really get any benefit at all. There'd be no real you might gain a little bit of, you gain a big undercut obviously, but your tyres would be totally dead. As you can see in front again, a lot of close battling. I decided just to try and take it easy. I can see an opportunity here now. I'm going to try and go around the left hand side and maybe have a look on the inside, go to the right and then fake it and try and cut back on the inside. You can see I'm going to try and brake late, but I decided again to try pretty much back out, that there was no point throwing it up the inside there. It would have probably ended up in a collision between myself and Firestorm. As the car behind now is having a little look to make a move. You can see Bam Enzo there having a look down that inside, but not able to really make a move because I'm in the slipstream of Firestorm. And again now going up the hill, didn't really get the best exit, which means I can't really have a little look up the inside into turn 2 before the end of this straight to make a move on Firestorm. So again, just sitting in the slipstream, just look at this train of cars that's developed. We've got about 6 cars all very close together, and this is what I was talking about. It was getting too really compact, and this is where I thought I might have to try something different with the strategy, because you can see how close everyone is. A lot of people were pitting lap 4 or 5. I wasn't really sure what would happen if I pitted at the end of lap 3, but I was considering it at this point. You know, was it worth the risk? Because looking how close this is in front, I can see I'm losing time. I've got more pace in the car, so has Firestorm. I think the driver in front of Firestorm was holding Firestorm up a bit, which was then holding myself up. The other Beetle managed to get past all this, which was great for him, because then he could pull away and continue on with his normal strategy. However, where I'm sitting now, it's too risky to go for any sort of overtakes. You can see, look how close this is on the downhill section. This is just super close racing, and again, the Corvette, I didn't really want to push too close to the wall. I didn't want to get too close to the cars in front at this point, because they were getting so feisty together, going like really close into the corners. I could see some sort of incident happening here, and I thought this is probably not going to end well if we go for any sort of moves. So I decided this was the lap. I'm going to risk it. I'm going to pit early and try and salvage some sort of result out of this, because if I felt like if I stay in this position, we're going to pretty much be stuck in P10 or worse all the way to the end of the race. As you can see, again, they're going side by side. Again, I brake very early, but this is causing P11 to have a little look up the inside. I give him space, but luckily managed to hold on to that position, and that was the final straw. I've decided we're going to pit early and risk this, because if we can get ahead of them cars and get ourselves out of that battle and get a little advantage, maybe they'll keep on battling and losing time together, and it might work. You can see the car behind also went for the same strategy as myself with this undercut, and another car obviously as well going in the pits there. So 3 cars deciding to go for a very early stop on lap 3. Now this is not the best strategy, especially in the Corvette with the way it kills its front tyres, but I felt like if I could get in clean air, put a good out lap in, and just try and look after the tyres at the end of the race, I might be able to get some sort of result out of this. You know, this was the last race of the day. I had to get, you know, before this I was on 0 points. That was obviously due to the no scoring points before I had to pick my partner up from work. So we did a reasonably okay first race, picking up just under 2,000 points. But then I risked it for another race, obviously, because I wasn't happy with 2,000 points. Got 0 points because of that race. Now this, obviously starting from so far back, it's all about seeing if I can just limit the damage, because I need to get some sort of reasonable points up on the board, and just obviously they're not going to be amazing points, but I just wanted to get something that would, you know, not be too bad, that would just keep me going through. As you can see now, we're managing to stay ahead of the driver that pitted behind us. He's picking up the slipstream, but now I've just got to really try and hook these corners up and try and get him out the slipstream. See if we can push him. Obviously he's going to be picking up that dirty air behind us as he runs a little bit wide there, and then going into the downhill section, having a little look behind in the mirror. You can see he's gone very aggressive into, he's gone too aggressive, and he's actually hit the wall, and that's good news for me, because that's going to give me the opportunity to just about get out that slipstream range, and now I can just concentrate on driving rather than looking in the mirror. So it's all out attack now for this out lap until we go over the line and see where we come out. Obviously there's going to be some drivers that are going to pit on lap 4. However, there will be a lot of drivers also pitting on lap 5, and I think there might have been some drivers going for a no stop with the Beetle, because the Beetle could do that. Obviously, if it was on, I think you could actually do it on the medium, on the softer compound tyre, on the softs. I'm not too sure how that works. I know the Beetle is very good on tyre wear, but possibly they're using medium tyres. I'm not too sure. The medium tyres were not massively slower than the soft tyres, because it's mainly on traction where the difference in lap time comes, because a lot of the corners are pretty much flat out anyway. As you can see, as we go into the pits there, as two cars are in the pits there, this is going to be interesting. Where are we going to come out? Are we going to manage to jump Firestorm if he pitted this lap, or has Firestorm decided to go for another lap? As you can see in front there, I don't think Firestorm has pitted yet, so that's going to, in a way, that's quite good for myself, because that's going to be a bigger undercut. So now I'm going to get 2 laps worth of undercut on some of the drivers. So we're now up into P10, which isn't bad. We're pretty much where we was when we pitted. However, we're going to jump some more drivers, and it's all going to be very reliant on where they come out in relation to other drivers who are holding us up before the pit stop phase. You can see that we've managed to jump a few other drivers. I think we jumped 1 driver at least from when they've pitted on lap 4, so we just got to try and hold on to this position. Luckily for us, we've got the other driver who pitted with us right behind us and just outside the slipstream, so he's in quite a fast car down the straight. The Toyota Supra, very fast down the straight, so he might be able to hold some people off. and help protect my position at this stage of the race. As we've got the Beetle that just came out the pits there on the end of lap 4, so he's got fresher tyres. Not really much chance, you know, with this running soft tyres times 7 multiplier. It's not really an option to try and stay with a car like that. And obviously the Beetle as well is very good on the tyres, so I'm just going to try and hold on as long as I can. I pretty much knew at this stage there's no real race going on here now. When you've got the older tyres, you can't really compete too much. The extra grip and the extra traction just gives you so much more lap time. But we're going to keep going and try and see if we can get any sort of result out of this race and recover something, as you can see. Now, P1, Derek there, DK, driving very well. I think he's not pitted. I don't know if he actually pitted. It'd be interesting to see if he pits on this lap. Yeah, so he's in the pits there now. He's going for a pit stop, obviously using soft tyres, going to lap 5, and then going for obviously a really fast last stint with 4 laps only needed to do. So that was the strategy he's choosing. It's probably the safest for getting out of traffic. However, Firestorm also in the pits there shows you that he's going to have lost quite a bit of time over ourselves. From, you know, we went in the pits when we were right behind him. So let's see if we've managed to jump him by any amount as we go over the start finishing line through turn 1, and let's see what position we're up to as we go through turn 1. So we're into P8, so we have managed to jump Firestorm. It actually looks like Firestorm has lost a few places, so he's down in P10 and he's behind P9, the driver who is obviously on the same strategy as me. So this has really worked out for me at the moment. This could be very beneficial if I can hold on to this position and he can hold up some of the other drivers behind me. And this is why we went for this strategy, because I could see that it was getting really difficult for some cars to get past other cars because of the straight line speed differences, and I was just too far back to really, you know, risk diving in on 2 drivers. So at the moment this might have worked out for me. We've got a gap to P9, and then we've got a lot of other cars obviously on the fresher tyres behind them, so it's just about seeing if I can hold on to this position. At the moment I'm maintaining reasonably okay speed. You can see that the driver in front's pulled out a little bit, but he's not flying ahead. He's only gained the 3 or 4 attempts, even though he's got them fresher tyres. So he's obviously in the slipstream with another car also, pushing really hard to get that P6. I think it is really frustrating that we messed our qualifying up, because looking at the pace, I think we would have had pace to finish at least in the top 3 or 4 in this race. But unfortunately, again, qualifying let me down in this race. You know, the first 2 races I did reasonably okay qualifying. It wasn't amazing. I think race 2 we did a 207 flat, improved by just under a 10th from race 1. And this qualifying was going really, the final lap that I was on was actually looking like a very, very nice lap. I went through personal best, I think it was purple, all the way through the mid up to the middle sector where I lost control of the car. And obviously a lot of people have finished their laps. We were on our final lap at the end, you know, right at one of the last cars. So if we were purple, that was a good sign, and we just binned it and messed it up. So it was a bit unfortunate, but if you don't take the risk, you don't get the rewards. And eventually we're going to start hooking these qualifying laps up a little bit better. I think it's one area that I do need to work on with the new steering wheel, is qualifying. The pace is there, it's just got to be a little bit more consistent in the qualifying. So hopefully that will come over the next few months anyway, as we work our way up the hill now. And you can see we're still holding on to, we're just outside the slipstream range to P7, even though they're on the fresher tyres. So at the moment this is not too bad. You know, we are staying reasonably close considering the tyre wear situation. They're obviously on a lot fresher tyres than what I'm on, even though, and also the Corvette chews its tyres up at the front a lot more than. This is one area where I wish I would have done a little bit more practicing and testing out other cars. I just went with the car that I like at this track, the way in terms of its gearing, but the tyre wear is not great on the Corvette. And I think next time this combination comes up, I will remember cars like the FT1, the Beetle, the AMG GT3, which is also very good on its tyres. They seem quite strong cars at this track. But you can see now we're on midway through lap 7, and we've got a gap of over 2 seconds to P9. It looks like Bam Enzo drivers held off other cars. There's been issues with cars behind, and I think Firestorm's had some sort of incident as well. And this is why, again, it's highlighting why I went for that undercut, because it all looked a little bit chaotic when we were in that group, and I felt like a safer option was to go for that undercut and try and jump a lot of drivers and just get in some clean air, which we're in now. We're not in the dirty air of the car in front, and we've got no one pressurising us, so we can just drive our own race, even though the lap times are not going to be anything amazing, because obviously we've got pretty bad tyre wear at this point. You know, we've been on these tyres since lap 3, at the end of lap 3, so since lap 4, so we've got to do 6 laps on these tyres, so they are going to be feeling very old at this stage. But if we can just hold reasonable pace, which we're actually doing at this point, You can see that there's some changes of positions up ahead, so you never know what could have happened. I didn't know, you know, if these battles were not far behind P5, and that shows you that I think definitely if we would have had the qualifying and been on a better tyre strategy, obviously one that would have worked better being further up the field, we could have got a good result out of this race. But unfortunately, having to pit on lap 3 is sacrifice the ability to put on pressure on the drivers in front, but I felt like it was a risk worth taking just to get out of that battle that we were in, because in with all them cars, you don't want to be battling with too many cars on this game. You only have 9 laps. 2 laps of battling can lose you so much time, and it also wears the tyres out. So at the moment things are looking okay. We've got 2 laps to go. I've got to hold on to this. If I can hold on to this position and pick up a P8, I will be extremely happy from where we were before the pit stop phase. Obviously we started P11. If we can pick up a P8, considering it's been done through strategy in the pits, we were actually looking like we were getting in a bit of a sticky situation, stuck in with about a group of 6 cars, which, you know, it's the risk of picking up penalties and everything. It's not what you want. So at the moment it's looking okay. The tyre wear is starting to really pick up now. You only have to look at that right front tyre on this Corvette. That is the tyre that takes a lot of the wear with this car, and it's really struggling through the fast corners to really hold the lines. And you can see having to be really cautious as well on the power. A lot, you know, naturally you will short shift this car because it's faster in it, but I'm even short shifting it beyond what you'd normally do before even the revs show up on the bar. That's because if you sometimes coming out some of the slower corners with this car, it was tending to lose grip at the rear. Now you can see the rear tyres are starting to go slightly. It's the main area obviously for concern is that right front tyre, but we've only got 1 more lap to go, and we've got over 3-second lead here. So I've just got to hold on to this position for 1 more lap. This was actually quite comfortable now at this stage, because I know that I can just take it fairly easy. There's no point me pushing for them cars in front. They're on. Some of them have got 2-lap fresher tyres. I think some of them have got 1-lap tyres that are fresher. So for me, there's no point worrying about them. They're going to be pulling away. My tyres are dead in this Corvette. I think their cars are generally better on tyre wear than what I'm in as well. So it's just about holding on and maintaining its position. As you can see there, P9 has actually changed positions with a driver that's on fresher tyres. I'm not sure if they're on 2-lap fresher tyres or 1-lap fresher tyres. So I decided now I've just got to take it easy. Do not push too hard. Try and look after the car and just bring this home in P8 for some okay points. It's not going to be anything special. It's not going to be big points, but it was just about picking up a result after obviously the last race of the day. At this stage there was no risk. There was no point risking anything because we're not going to gain anything up ahead, and all that could happen is we lose position. So just trying to keep it nice and smooth now for the final time through these corners, going into this very tricky corner again, braking nice and early, careful on the throttle as we go up this hill. You can see the car is struggling for grip and traction. It's understeering a lot. This corner's not too bad, the right hand corner. It's more these fast left hand corners that are coming now where the load of the car is on the right front tyre. This is the corners that really, you know, put the car under pressure. You can see not able to carry the speed that we were carrying earlier on in the race through them corners. And now we've just got to come up to the very tricky downhill section just for 1 more final time. 2.6 seconds, 2.4 seconds. You can see that gap is decreasing and decreasing, and now I cannot carry any speed. Look how I've got the rear tyres are starting to lose traction. I've got to be so careful now all the way on this downhill section, braking so early and cautious here now. I'm not risking anything. Early upshift into 3rd gear there, and then just trying to maintain traction really. It's all about keeping this position. I don't mind if he finishes 2 tenths behind me as long as I finish ahead, which we should be able to do. We've got 1.3 second lead over P9. He's got the fresher tyres obviously, but there's no real overtaking up. This is the main overtaking opportunity now, which is too far behind. He's not really going to be able to do anything there. I've got to brake extremely early again, having to go down into 2nd gear because of the tyre wear and the fact that his car's got no front end grip. And you can see the drive behind now nearly in the slipstream. However, again, we're going to brake nice and early, try and get it into the corner, down into 2nd gear, early upshift into 3rd gear, and just go over the line. And we've managed to get ourselves into P8, and a pretty solid result, to be honest, over a second ahead, but not the best finishing time. You can see we were way off our practice time. We were finishing on, I think, we would have been about 5 seconds behind Derek if we would have raced our pace that we were doing in practice when we streamed it the day before. However, not a bad result considering where we could have ended up. You only have to look at other drivers that were battling with us down in P13, P12 and P11, and you know, we managed to get a result out of that through doing the undercut and a very risky strategy on the pit stop. pitting up lap 3 and doing 6 laps on them soft tyres. So especially with the Corvette, which isn't a car that's very good on tyres, that was a very risky strategy and it paid off, and we managed to get ourselves some okay points. Nothing special, but because this was another quite a big rated lobby, P8 still picked me up I think 1800 points, as you're going to see now. Yeah, so just over 1800 points, so not a brilliant scoring round, but not bad considering the situation we were in. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed, and click that notification button so you don't miss any future videos. I'm going to leave you with the outro video that I've created now for when I'm streaming. We're going to put it onto our videos as well, just to give a thank you to all the members of the channel. So, you know, if you're a member of the channel, your name's going to be put onto the end of every single video also now. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'll see you all soon for more streams and more videos. Thanks again, everyone.